Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How's everyone feeling? Good, good. Well, happy Sunday. I was also telling Reverend Jen earlier that is actually also Women's History Month. So happy Women's History Month, and femme-identifying folks and the people who support our women and mothers. So just to quickly reintroduce myself, my name is Maki Somosot. I am the Jeffco community organizer for Together Colorado, and we are a statewide community organization that organizes faith communities like JUC, Lakewood UCC, and advocating for human dignity and justice for all. So, wholeheartedness. I must admit that when Reverend Jen asked me to talk about wholeheartedness and social justice at the pulpit, I was more than intimidated. These days, I've been feeling less wholehearted as a community organizer and just as a general human being, and really more angry, overwhelmed, and despondent at the state of our broken world. So who here actually knows about the Enneagram? Raise your hand. Oh, okay, a good chunk of y'all. Okay, I love a UU congregation. Okay. Most of us know about it. Okay, great. So on the Enneagram, I'm actually a number 3. And what that means is that I am what you would call an achiever and a performer. Basically, your classic buttoned up type A personality, who loves her checklists, her to-dos, and especially crossing them off at the end of the day. And true to form, that's how I've been showing up and dealing with the onslaught of political crises since the start of this year. Just doing. You know, as a community organizer, that's really my job. Putting my faith and my values into action. But I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. So Reverend Jen's invitation to speak about wholeheartedness was more of an agitation for me than anything else. So I will say it's good agitation. There's good agitations, and that's what get you to cross the bridge, as we say in organizing. But as someone who would rather stay buried in her to-do lists and get things done, rather than reflect on the inside and hold vulnerable space for why I'm doing community organizing in the first place. And so it's been hard for me, and I just want to validate folks here who have been feeling saddened and, just not knowing what to do and trying to do all the things, because all of the reactions are valid, y'all, and it's a hard time right now. But why do I organize to begin with? I think for me, the first answer is obvious. Every day, I'm privileged to work with volunteers across race and place, especially folks from the JUC CAN team here. I think I only see Kathy Smith, and she's in the back, so hi, Kathy. I don't know who else is part of JUC CAN. I think I saw Gretchen May here earlier, too. So I'm privileged to work with folks from different backgrounds and to really experience the fierce tenacity and power of their leadership. In the organizing world, we have an axiom. We say, organizers teach and leaders lead. As community organizers, we follow the golden rule of never doing for others what they can do for themselves. Our main role is to support community members like yourselves in leading the work themselves. And so as a Jeffco organizer, my job is to really support volunteers on the ground, Kathy Smith, Mindy Moore, Jill Armstrong, Susan Motika, and many more here, I hope, to build power, identify issues, strategize together, and take action to achieve concrete change in the Jeffco community. And indeed, a powerful example of organizing happened in Jeffco just earlier this week. Several JUCers and members of the new Jeffco chapter of Together Colorado showed up to support the adoption of Jeffco's 15-year strategic housing plan. Together, we urged our county leaders to include our long-term housing priorities in Jeffco's official planning and regulatory documents. Together, we're working to ensure that that housing remains a basic human right for everyone in Jeffco. And it's really winning concrete changes like that that sustains me in this work. And seeing my leaders advocate for change in the public arena and become transformed themselves in the process is, for me, even more heart-filling. But there's another reason why I'm invested in this work in the long term. Community organizing, at the heart of it, is a deeply personal journey. In order to organize and lead others, you must organize and master yourself. In my previous role, before coming to Colorado, as a communications director for a community organizing group in Ohio, I got to know our volunteers one-on-one and help them tell their leaders in public, or their stories in public, many for the first time. And throughout that process, I began to realize that I had a story myself. I wasn't just a passive bystander, helper, or stenographer. I wasn't just on the outside looking in. I also had a powerful voice that could lead, inspire, and agitate others into doing the same thing. And during my time living in Ohio, I ended up participating in a national week-long leadership training where community organizers, communicators, volunteer leaders, community members across the country would join together, grow, and be transformed. And that training led me to several breakthroughs. Life-changing breakthroughs that continue and inspire my journey every day as a community organizer. I learned that as a first-generation Filipina immigrant to America, I've experienced hurtful pain and trauma in my life that has irrevocably led me to social justice work. As the eldest grandchild growing up in a highly perfectionist and achievement-obsessed political family in the Philippines, I know what it's like to feel that you can never measure up. As a brown-skinned immigrant woman in America, I know what it's like to confront sexualized misogyny and gender violence every day. And as an Asian professional fighting back against the model minority stereotype in the workplace, I know what it's like to be taken for granted, abused, and frequently overlooked for your hard work. But that's why I'm in the fight, y'all. Because the prevailing systems of oppression and domination that have impacted my life, I've also seen how they hurt and twist the lives of other people, the people that I love, regardless of the color of their skin or how much money they have. We've all been hurt by these systems. And we all, each of us here, have a personal stake. We have a deep and unshakable self-interest in why we want to change our world. This broken, infuriating, yet beautiful world that we're all still committed to living in. And for me, it began with wrestling with my inner shadows and darkness. It began with learning, piece by piece, every minute of every day, how to integrate those dark, challenging days, the most painful of traumas, with the deepest joys and the brightest lights of my life. And that, for me, is building real wholeheartedness. That is building real solidarity with people, no matter the race, ethnicity, gender, or income. Because we've all been through it, y'all. No matter where we sit in our lives, we've all been through it. So I want to take a pause and invite you all to join me and Together Colorado on this journey of collective leadership, transformation, and putting our faith and values into action over the next few weeks. As Reverend Jen mentioned earlier, Together Colorado is hosting community organizings throughout the month of March. And the one in Jeffco specifically is next Saturday on March 8th from 9 to 3 p.m. in Lakewood. And these trainings will really teach you how to build power and build community with others to make long-lasting change in your Colorado community. And we're really encouraging folks to go to the one on the 8th because it is the one in Jeffco. But if you're unable to make it, we also have one in Denver. This is the Denver metro area training. That's an alternative. The following Sunday, March 16th, which is going to be at Montview Presbyterian Church. And the one in Jeffco will be at Lakewood UCC, like Reverend Jen said. And then in addition to these trainings, I think Dita mentioned earlier the importance of community and having your own, having a tight-knit group that you belong to. And we're also forming a Together Colorado chapter here in Jeffco, where we're building community right in our backyard. Our Jeffco chapter is a multi-faith and values-forward community that builds power through grassroots organizing, advocacy, and policy change. Our mission is to build long-term people power in Jeffco by advocating for the dignity of all Jeffco residents, no matter their race, age, income, or neighborhood. And from Lakewood to Littleton, Arvada to Evergreen to Golden, we're organizing for a healthier and more sustainable Jeffco in which all of us can thrive. So I will actually be together. I will be in the South Commons between services right after this. Please come and introduce yourself, find out more about the Jeffco chapter with Together Colorado, and sign up for the community organizings being offered in March. Thank you all, and together, let's live into our collective values of solidarity, community, authenticity, and relationship. Thanks, everyone.
So earlier, we sang the old labor song, Bread and Roses. And one verse in particular goes, "Our lives shall not be sweetened from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses." And this song comes from a phrase given in a speech by Helen Todd, who was a working woman in Chicago in 1910, who spoke for better labor conditions and for women's suffrage. And she said, "Not at once, but woman is the mothering element in the world, and her vote will go toward helping forward the time when life's bread, which is home, shelter, and community, and the roses of life, music, education, nature, and books, shall be the heritage of every child that is born in the country, in the government of which she has a voice." Now, by this time, the movement to get the vote for women had been going on for a century. And our own Unitarian ancestor, Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, had said 70 years prior, "We are all bound up together in one great bundle of humanity. And society cannot trample on the weakest of its members without receiving the curse in its own soul." Now, the women of this time, the early 20th century, had been giving that message for the better part of a century. They'd been working toward their own enfranchisement for 3 generations at least. And it was still by no means certain to come to fruition. It would be several years still until white women won the vote, and it would be another half century before all women would get the vote. So it's interesting that Todd chose that phrase during this time, bread and roses. And I think it's this phrase that also gives us our marching orders for the coming years. We know, friends, and Maki reminded us, that being wholehearted in a world that is unjust means sometimes being disappointed, sometimes being without hope, sometimes being discouraged and wondering about the point of it all. And the truth is, folks, we are in this for the long haul. This just isn't a one and done deal. We can't expect instant results. In fact, our JUC CAN folks and others have been working with our elected officials for years on the 15-year housing plan. It has taken many people and many years for this plan that addresses the needs of our most vulnerable, our unhoused and those living in mobile homes, to come into being. And it'll take more years and more of our voices to ensure that it gets carried out. We can't expect to win over everyone. But what we can expect is to do this together. We can expect to learn our stories, our own and those of the people doing this work with us, better. To value one another better, to know one another better. And to experience the joy and wholeheartedness of speaking our own truths in chorus with the truths of others. To know the joy of lifting one another's voices up in solidarity and in hope. To know the joy and the heartache when someone directly affected by unfair housing laws tells us, as someone did this week, "I didn't expect to see so many people testify today. I didn't think anyone cared about people like us." This community spirit is our roses, friends. This empowerment we feel in sharing our stories, all of them, and the connections we build to one another, those are the roses. And so what we experienced at the county commissioners' hearing wasn't just justice. It wasn't just a victory for the oppressed and marginalized, though it certainly was and is that. What we left the meeting with was hope. Hope that in the midst of everything that is happening, in all the chaos of recent weeks, when it seems all the good we've built as a country is being dismantled, we can still do good. We can still achieve justice. Friends, I am so grateful to be in this with you. So in a moment, we'll sing, "We Shall Overcome." This song comes out of the civil rights movement, a movement of African American people who have known for centuries what it means to look for hope, to use our whole hearts to resist, to live, and to thrive. Overcoming means not just winning political freedom, it means living wholeheartedly, with our hearts intact, even when it all seems hopeless. It means finding a way out of no way together. It means in the midst of struggle for justice, we continue to laugh and to love, to commemorate and to celebrate together. It means we fight for bread, but also remind each other, as we did at last night's winter ball, of the roses. May it continue to be so.